The moment love and hip-hop Miami fans had been waiting for took a turn nobody saw coming, and within seconds, what was supposed to be Amara's glamorous, carefully curated event spiraled into pure chaos. Voices rose, glasses slammed, and before anyone could even process what was happening, Shay and Eliza were on their feet, furious, shaking, and ready to expose everything. It all started with a single comment. Gaelle, calm but cutting, leaned in just enough for her words to slice through the room. Let's be real, y'all been fake friends from day one. And just like that, silence. The kind of silence that feels heavy, dangerous, the kind that always comes right before everything explodes. Shay's face dropped first, then came the laugh, but it wasn't humor. It was disbelief. Fake, she snapped, stepping forward. You really want to do this right now? Eliza didn't even hesitate. No, let's do it, she fired back, pointing directly at Gaelle. Since you got so much to say it louder. Within moments, the energy shifted from celebration to confrontation. Guests froze, cameras zoomed, and Amara, caught in the middle of her own event, looked completely blindsided as the night she worked so hard to build began unraveling in front of everyone. Accusations started flying, old wounds reopened, secrets, ones nobody expected to hear, began surfacing. And as emotions ran high, it became painfully clear, this wasn't just about fake friends, this was deeper. Personal. And way messier than anyone was ready for. Because what Gaelle revealed next, that's when everything truly fell apart. Amara stood frozen for a split second, her smile slowly fading as the tension in the room thickened like smoke. This was supposed to be her night, a carefully planned event meant to elevate her brand, bring everyone together, and remind people exactly who she was. Instead, it was unraveling in real time, and she could feel control slipping through her fingers. Shay stepped closer to Gaelle, her heels clicking sharply against the floor, each step louder than the last. You got a lot of nerve, she said, her voice low but shaking with anger. After everything we did for you? Gaelle didn't flinch. She crossed her arms, her expression almost too calm, like she had been waiting for this exact moment. Did for me? She replied, tilting her head. Or did you do it for the cameras? The room gasped. Not loudly, but enough. Whispers started spreading like wildfire among the guests. Phones subtly lifted, eyes widened. Fans would later say this was the exact second the night turned from tense to completely chaotic. Eliza jumped in before Shay could even respond, her voice sharp and cutting. Oh, so now we fake? That's what we doing? After you been calling us, crying to us, needing us? She stepped closer, her finger pointed inches from Gaelle's face. Don't play with me tonight. Amara quickly moved between them, her hands raised. Okay. We not about to do this here, she said, trying to keep her voice steady. This is not the time or the place, but it was already too late. No, let her talk, Shay snapped, stepping around Amara. Because clearly she'd been holding on to something, her eyes locked onto Gaelle's. Say it with your chest. Gaelle let out a small laugh, shaking her head. Y'all want honesty? Fine, y'all only show up when it benefits you. Every time I needed real support, real loyalty, y'all were nowhere to be found. That is a lie, Eliza shouted, her voice echoing through the room. And you know it, is it? Gaelle fired back instantly. Or are you just mad I'm finally saying it out loud? The tension was unbearable now. Guests began stepping back, forming a loose circle around the confrontation. Some looked uncomfortable, others looked completely locked in. This wasn't just drama anymore, this was exposure. Amara rubbed her temples, clearly overwhelmed. This is not what tonight was supposed to be, she muttered under her breath. But even she knew she had lost control of the situation. Shay's voice dropped, quieter now but somehow more intense. You really think we fake? She asked. After all the times we stood by you? Gaelle's expression hardened. Stood by me when? When the cameras were rolling. When it made y'all look good, she leaned forward slightly. Because when I was going through real stuff, I was alone. That hit something deep. Eliza's face changed instantly, her anger shifting into something more personal. More hurt. You don't get to rewrite history, she said, her voice trembling slightly. You don't get to act like we didn't care about you. Then where were you? Gaelle shot back. Silence. A heavy, uncomfortable silence. And for a moment, no one had an answer. Fans watching later would say this was the moment everything felt too real. Shay broke the silence first, her tone defensive now. We have our own lives. We can't drop everything every time you going through something. Gaelle laughed again, but this time there was no humor in it. Exactly. Thank you. That's all I needed to hear. No, don't twist my words, Shay snapped quickly. You know that's not what I meant. That's exactly what you meant, Gaelle replied, her voice calm but cutting. You just don't like how it sounds. Amara stepped in again, more forceful this time. Enough, she said, this is getting out of hand, but Eliza wasn't done. Not even close. No, because she playing victim right now, Eliza said, shaking her head. Like we just abandoned her. That's crazy to me. I didn't say you abandoned me, Gaelle replied. I said you weren't real. That word hung in the air. Real. It echoed louder than any shout. Shay clenched her jaw. You keep saying that like it means something, she said. Define fake, Gaelle. Go ahead. Gaelle didn't hesitate. Fake is smiling in my face and then talking behind my back. Fake is showing up when it's convenient. Fake is pretending to be my friend but moving like an enemy. The room erupted in murmurs. Eliza threw her hands up. Who been talking behind your back? She demanded. Say names. Gaelle looked directly at her. You. The reaction was immediate. Oh hell no, Eliza shouted, stepping forward so fast that Amara had to physically grab her arm. You not about to put that on me. I don't have to put anything on you, Gaelle said calmly. You already did it yourself. Shay stepped in front of Eliza, her energy now protective. You need to be real careful with what you accusing people of, she warned. Gaelle raised an eyebrow. Or what? That one question lit a fire. Because suddenly, it wasn't just about words anymore. It was about pride. It was about respect. And it was about everything that had been building beneath the surface for way too long. Amara could feel it spiraling again. Please, she said, almost pleading now. Can we just take a breath and talk about this later? But no one was listening anymore. Eliza pulled her arm free from Amara's grip. Nah, she wanted this moment, she said. So let's give it to her. Shay nodded slowly, her eyes never leaving Gaelle. Yeah, she added. Let's get everything out in the open. Gaelle smirked slightly. Finally, and just like that, the night crossed a line it couldn't come back from. Because what started as a single accusation was now turning into a full-blown breakdown of friendships, loyalty, and trust. And nobody in that room was ready for what was about to be said next. The air felt heavier with every second, like the walls themselves were closing in as all three women stood locked in a standoff no one could interrupt anymore. Eyes were glued to them, conversations completely dead around the room, and even the music that once filled the space now felt distant, irrelevant. Eliza folded her arms, her expression sharp and unyielding. Since you so comfortable calling people fake, let's really talk, she said. Because you acting like you innocent in all this. Gaelle didn't back down. Not even a little. I never said I was perfect, she replied. But at least I'm real about who I am. Shay let out a scoff, shaking her head. Real? She repeated. You calling yourself real while you been stirring stuff up behind the scenes? Gaelle's eyes narrowed. Be specific. Oh, I will, Shay shot back instantly. All that whispering, all them little side conversations, trying to turn people against us, you think we didn't hear about that? A ripple moved through the crowd. People shifted uncomfortably, some glancing at each other like they knew exactly what Shay was referring to but didn't want to get pulled into it. Gaelle laughed again, but this time it sounded almost tired. So now I'm the villain? That's what we doing, if the shoe fits, Eliza snapped. Amara stepped in once more, clearly struggling to keep things from completely falling apart. This is not productive, she said, her voice firm but strained. We're going in circles, but Shay wasn't trying to circle back. She was going deeper. No, because I'm tired of the narrative, she said, turning slightly so her voice carried beyond just Gaelle. People love to act like they're the victim when they're the ones creating the problems. Gaelle tilted her head, studying her. You talking about me, or yourself? That question hit hard. Shay stepped forward again, closing the space between them. You always do that, she said quietly. Deflect, twist things, make it seem like you being attacked when really you the one throwing stones. Gaelle's calm demeanor cracked just slightly. I'm not deflecting anything, she replied. I'm calling out what I see. No, Eliza cut in, her voice rising again. You calling out what you want people to believe. Why would I need to make anything up? Gaelle fired back. Your actions speak for themselves. Say exactly what actions, Eliza demanded. Gaelle paused, just for a second, and in that second, the entire room leaned in. You talk about me, Gaelle said finally, her voice steady but cold. To people who don't even know me like that. You smile in my face, then question my character behind my back. Eliza's expression shifted, but only for a flicker. That's not true, she said, but there was a slight hesitation. And Shay caught it. Don't even do that, Shay said, looking at Eliza. You don't have to explain yourself. No, let her, Gaelle said quickly. Let her tell everyone how loyal she really is. The tension snapped tighter. Eliza stepped forward again, this time completely ignoring Amara. I never questioned your character, she said. I questioned your behavior. There's a difference. Oh, that's cute, Gaelle replied. Real cute. No, what's cute is you acting like you've been perfect this whole time, Eliza shot back. Like you didn't distance yourself first. Like you didn't start moving funny, Gaelle repeated. Because I stopped entertaining fake energy? There you go again, Shay muttered. Amara looked around, visibly stressed as more people started whispering. Some guests were already pulling out their phones more openly now, knowing this was the kind of moment that would spread fast. This is getting messy, someone whispered from the side. It's been messy, another replied. And they were right, because now it wasn't just about who said what. It was about perception, reputation, and pride. You know what the real issue is? Gaelle said suddenly, her voice cutting through the noise. Y'all don't like that I stopped depending on you. That statement shifted everything. Shay blinked, caught off guard for the first time. What? Yeah, Gaelle continued. Because the moment I started doing my own thing, moving on my own terms, suddenly I'm fake. Suddenly I'm the problem. Eliza shook her head immediately. That's not what this is about. Then what is it about? Gaelle pressed. And again, silence. But this time, it didn't last long. It's about trust, Shay said firmly. And you broke that. Gaelle's brows furrowed. How? Shay took a deep breath, like she had been holding this in for a long time. Because you started talking to people who don't have our best interests, she said. You started aligning yourself with people who've been against us from day one. The crowd reacted instantly. Whispers got louder. Names weren't said, but everyone knew there were deeper layers to this. Gaelle's expression hardened again. So now I can't choose who I talk to. Not when those people been disrespecting us, Eliza replied quickly. Or maybe, Gaelle said, her voice dropping slightly, I just realized some of those people were more honest than y'all ever were. That one line hit like a bomb. Wow, Eliza said loudly, clapping her hands once in disbelief. So now the outsider's real and we fake? That's crazy. Maybe you should ask yourself why I feel that way, Gaelle shot back. Or maybe you should take accountability, Shay responded. Amara stepped forward again, her patience clearly running thin. This is not going anywhere, she said. We're just hurting each other at this point. But the damage was already done. And it was still spreading. You know what hurts? Gaelle said suddenly, her voice softer now but somehow even more powerful. Thinking you have people in your corner, and realizing you were just convenient to them. Shay's face tightened. That's not fair. Life's not fair, Gaelle replied. Neither are you, Eliza added quickly. The words kept coming, faster now, sharper, like no one was even thinking before speaking anymore. You're ungrateful. You're manipulative. You're inconsistent. You're fake. Each accusation landed harder than the last. And Amara, she was watching her entire event collapse into something she couldn't control anymore. Her vision blurred slightly as she looked around the room. People weren't celebrating anymore. They weren't networking or laughing or supporting her. They were watching a breakdown. Her breakdown. This was supposed to be different, she whispered to herself. But across the room, the argument had reached another level. Because now, it wasn't just about friendship. It was about betrayal. And Gaelle was about to say something that would take it even further. She stepped closer again, her voice low but clear. You want to talk about trust? She said. Fine, let's talk about the night you both sat there and questioned my loyalty like I wasn't even in the room. Shay's eyes widened slightly. Eliza froze. And just like that, the entire energy shifted again. Because now, something real was about to come out. Something none of them could deny. And something that would change everything. Shay's expression darkened instantly, her jaw tightening as she processed what Gaelle had just said. For the first time since this whole thing started, there was a flicker of uncertainty in her eyes. What night? She asked, but her tone didn't carry the same confidence as before. Gaelle didn't hesitate. Don't play dumb, she replied. You know exactly what night I'm talking about. Eliza shifted slightly, her arms still crossed but her posture less rigid now. If you got something to say, just say it, she muttered, trying to regain control of the moment. Oh, I will, Gaelle said. The dinner. The one where y'all thought I wouldn't hear about what was said after I left. A wave of murmurs spread instantly. People leaned closer, eyes wide, fully locked into the moment. Even Amara, despite everything, looked up sharply. This was new. Shay exhaled slowly, running her tongue across her teeth. You really bringing that up? She asked. Yes, Gaelle replied firmly. Because that's where everything changed for me. Eliza let out a short laugh, but it sounded forced. You mean the dinner where you left early and didn't explain anything? She shot back. That dinner? I left because I felt the energy shift, Gaelle said. And clearly I was right. No, Shay cut in, her voice rising again. You left because you didn't want to answer questions. What questions? Gaelle demanded. About your loyalty, Eliza said quickly. There it is again, Gaelle replied, shaking her head. Loyalty. Y'all keep using that word like you own it, because it matters, Shay snapped. Not the way y'all use it, Gaelle said. To you, loyalty means silence. It means I'm not allowed to question anything. It means I have to agree with everything you do. That's not true, Eliza said, but her voice wasn't as strong now. Then why was I being talked about like I was the enemy? Gaelle pressed. Silence hit again, but this time it was heavier. Because neither Shay nor Eliza answered immediately. And that hesitation, it said everything. Exactly, Gaelle continued. You didn't even wait to talk to me. You just assumed. You judged. You created your own narrative. Shay finally spoke, her voice lower now. We were concerned. Concerned? Gaelle repeated. Or suspicious? Both, Eliza admitted, almost under her breath. That admission sent a ripple through the room. Gaelle let out a slow breath, nodding like something inside her had just been confirmed. Thank you, she said. That's all I needed to hear. Don't twist it, Shay said quickly. We had reasons. What reasons? Gaelle asked. Because you started moving different, Shay replied. You stopped communicating. You started showing up less. You were distant. Because I felt the shift first, Gaelle said. Y'all just didn't notice. Or maybe, Eliza said, her voice sharpening again, you created that shift. No, Gaelle replied firmly. I reacted to it. Amara stepped forward again, her voice more urgent now. This is going too far, she said. We're digging up everything at this point, but nobody stopped. Nobody could stop, because now it wasn't just an argument. It was a full breakdown of everything that had been building behind the scenes. You know what the truth is? Gaelle said, her voice steady again. I was never fully accepted by y'all. Shay's head snapped back slightly. That's not true. It is, Gaelle insisted. I was tolerated. There's a difference. That's disrespectful, Eliza said. No, what's disrespectful is pretending to be close to someone while questioning them behind closed doors, Gaelle shot back. We questioned your actions, not you, Shay replied. Those two things are connected, Gaelle said. You can't separate them like that. The tension reached another peak. Voices overlapped. People started reacting louder now, some gasping, others whispering more aggressively. The situation was completely out of control. Amara looked like she was on the verge of tears. This was supposed to be a celebration, she said, her voice breaking slightly. Not this. But the night had already transformed into something else entirely. Something raw, something messy, something that couldn't be undone. You keep talking about what we did, Eliza said suddenly, stepping forward again. But you still haven't taken any accountability for your part, Gaelle raised an eyebrow. And what part is that? You shut us out, Eliza said. You stopped being open. You stopped being honest, because I didn't feel safe to be, Gaelle replied instantly. That word hit hard. Safe. Shay frowned. What does that even mean? It means I couldn't trust how my words would be used, Gaelle explained. I couldn't trust that my feelings wouldn't be twisted or dismissed. That's not fair, Shay said. It's my experience, Gaelle replied. Eliza shook her head, frustration written all over her face. You making it seem like we were against you from the start. Not from the start, Gaelle said quietly. But somewhere along the way, something changed. That line lingered. Because deep down, everyone in that room knew it was true. Something had changed. The question was, when? And why? Maybe we all played a part, Amara said softly, trying one last time to bring some kind of resolution. Maybe this isn't just one person's fault. For a brief moment, it seemed like things might finally slow down. Like maybe, just maybe, they would take a step back. But then Shay spoke again. No, she said firmly. Because at the end of the day, you don't just get to call people fake and walk away like you innocent. Gaelle's eyes locked onto hers. And you don't get to question someone's loyalty and expect them to stay silent. The room went quiet again. The kind of quiet that felt like the calm before something even bigger. Because this wasn't over. Not even close. Eliza took a deep breath, her voice lower now but filled with intensity. So what now? She asked. What are you trying to prove? Gaelle didn't hesitate. Nothing, she said. I'm just done pretending. Those words hit differently. Because there was no anger in them. No yelling. Just finality. And that scared people more than anything else. Shay stared at her for a moment, like she was trying to figure out if this was real. So that's it? She asked. You just done? Gaelle nodded slowly. Yeah, after everything? Eliza said. After everything, Gaelle confirmed. Amara looked between them, her heart clearly sinking. So we just, ending things like this? Gaelle glanced at her, her expression softening slightly. I didn't want it to go like this, she said. But I can't keep forcing something that's not real. That word again. Real. It echoed louder than ever now. Shay shook her head, disbelief written all over her face. This is crazy, she muttered. You really throwing everything away? Or maybe, Gaelle said quietly, I'm finally choosing myself. That line landed like a final blow. And just like that, the dynamic shifted one last time. Because now it wasn't just about accusations. It was about separation, about walking away, about endings. And as Gaelle turned slightly, like she was actually ready to leave, the room held its breath. Because nobody knew what would happen next. Would someone stop her? Would things escalate again? Or was this really the end of something that once looked unbreakable? And as the silence stretched longer and longer, it became painfully clear. This wasn't just a fight. This was a breakdown. And the aftermath? It was going to be even messier than the explosion itself. Gaelle's heels clicked against the floor as she turned, every step echoing louder than the chaos that had just unfolded. For a second, nobody moved. Nobody spoke. It was like the entire room was frozen, trying to process whether this was really happening or if someone was about to stop her. But no one did, and that silence, it said everything. Amara took a step forward, her voice shaky. Gaelle, wait, she called out, reaching slightly as if she could physically pull the moment back before it went too far. Gaelle paused, just for a moment, her back still turned, and you could feel the entire room leaning into that pause, hoping, expecting, something to shift. But when she spoke, her voice was calm. Almost too calm. I said everything I needed to say, she replied without turning around. And that was it. She kept walking. The door opened, and just like that, she was gone. The room erupted instantly. Voices overlapped, reactions spilled out, and the tension that had been building all night finally cracked wide open into full-blown chaos. Did that really just happen? Someone whispered loudly. She really walked out like that? Another voice added. Amara stood there, completely stunned, her hands dropping slowly to her sides. Her event, her night, it was officially gone. Shay ran a hand through her hair, pacing slightly now, her frustration spilling over in a different way. Nah, that's wild, she muttered. She really flipped everything and then dipped. Eliza wasn't moving. She was still staring at the door, her expression a mix of anger and disbelief. She really thinks she's right, she said quietly. That's the crazy part. Because she convinced herself she is, Shay replied quickly. That's what happens when people don't take accountability. Amara finally snapped out of her daze, turning toward them. But did we? She asked suddenly. That question hit differently. Shay stopped pacing. Eliza blinked. What? Shay said. Did we take accountability? Amara repeated. Because I heard a lot tonight, and it didn't sound one-sided. The energy shifted again, but this time it was quieter. Heavier. Eliza frowned slightly. Amara, you're not about to turn this around on us, she said. I'm not turning anything, Amara replied. I'm just asking. Shay exhaled sharply. We did what we were supposed to do as friends, she said. We questioned things when they didn't feel right, but did we communicate it the right way? Amara pressed. That question lingered longer, because now, the anger was starting to settle, and reality was creeping in. She still shouldn't have called us fake, Eliza said, but her voice wasn't as loud now. I agree, Amara said. But calling someone fake usually comes from somewhere. Shay shook her head. Or it comes from insecurity, or hurt, Amara countered. Silence. Again. But this silence wasn't explosive. It was reflective, and for the first time all night, the emotions started shifting away from pure anger into something more complicated. I just don't like how she did that, Eliza said, softer now. Like, in front of everyone. Yeah, Shay added. That part was messy. Amara looked around the room, noticing how different everything felt now. People were still talking, still reacting, but the energy had changed. It wasn't excitement anymore. It was aftermath. This whole thing was messy, she said quietly. And she wasn't wrong, because across the room, guests were already forming their own opinions. I think Gaelle had a point, one woman whispered. Nah, she dragged it, someone else replied. But you saw how they hesitated. That doesn't mean they guilty, it kinda does. The division was clear. The room wasn't just reacting. It was split, and outside those walls, fans would be even worse. Phones were already lighting up. Messages being sent, clips being shared. This about to be everywhere, someone muttered. Shay heard that and let out a frustrated laugh. Of course it is, she said. Because people love drama more than truth. Or maybe they just love seeing what's real, Amara said under her breath. Shay looked at her. You keep saying that word like it's simple. It's not simple, Amara replied. That's the problem. Eliza finally moved, walking over to grab a drink, her movements slower now. So what now? She asked. We just let her walk away and paint us as the villains? Shay's expression hardened again. No, she said, we tell our side. And what is our side? Amara asked. The truth, Shay replied. Amara held her gaze. But what if her truth and your truth don't match? That question lingered in the air like a challenge. Because that was the real issue now. Not who was right, not who was wrong, but whose version of the story people would believe. Eliza took a sip of her drink, shaking her head slightly. I just hate how this turned out, she admitted. Like, we were good at one point. Yeah, Shay said quietly. We were. Amara sighed, her shoulders dropping as the weight of everything finally settled on her. And now look at us, she said. All because nobody said what they really felt when it mattered. We did say what we felt, Shay argued. Not to each other, Amara replied. That hit. Because deep down, they knew it was true. The conversations had happened, just not in the right places. Not with the right people. And definitely not at the right time. So what happens now? Eliza asked again, her voice softer than it had been all night. Amara looked toward the door where Gaelle had left, her expression distant. Honestly, she said, I don't know, and that uncertainty, it was heavier than any argument. Because arguments end, but uncertainty? It lingers, it grows, it changes things. Shay crossed her arms again, her expression guarded. Well, I'm not chasing nobody, she said. If she done, she done. Are you sure about that? Amara asked. Shay hesitated, just for a second, but it was enough, because even she didn't fully believe her own words. Eliza noticed it too, but didn't say anything. Instead, she looked away, her mind clearly racing. Because despite everything that had just been said, despite all the anger, all the accusations, all the hurt, there was still something there. Something unresolved, something unfinished, and that's what made it even more dangerous. Because this wasn't closure, this was just the beginning of something bigger. Something that would spill beyond this room, onto social media, into conversations, into sides being chosen. And as the night slowly continued around them, trying to recover from the explosion that had just happened, one thing became painfully clear. This wasn't over, not even close, because when friendships break like this, they don't just disappear. They echo, they linger, and eventually, they come back louder than ever. And somewhere, not too far away, Gaelle sat alone with her thoughts, replaying everything that had just happened, not knowing that this story was about to take an even more unexpected turn. And just like that, what started as a celebration turned into one of the most explosive moments fans have ever witnessed. Friendships shattered, emotions ran high, and the room was left completely divided. Some people are standing firmly with Gaelle, saying she finally spoke her truth, while others believe Shay and Eliza were blindsided and unfairly called out. But the real question is, what actually happened behind the scenes that pushed things this far? Because let's be honest, this didn't come out of nowhere. Tension had been building, conversations were happening in private, and clearly, not everything was being said out loud until it was too late. Now with everything out in the open, there's no going back to how things used to be. Fans are already going crazy online, picking sides, breaking down every single moment, and trying to figure out who was really being fake and who was just reacting to feeling betrayed. And the biggest mystery of all, is this the end of their friendship for good, or is there still a chance for a shocking reconciliation? Now I need you to tell me what you think. Do you believe Gaelle was right for calling them out, or do you think Shay and Eliza were unfairly attacked? Drop your opinion in the comments right now because this conversation is far from over. And if you want more drama, more inside stories, and all the latest updates you won't hear anywhere else, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss what happens next. Because trust me, this situation? It's only getting messier.